Welcome to Style Meets Sustainability, the podcast where fashion, ethics, and conscious living come together. I'm Arpitha, and in every episode, we explore how the clothes we wear can honor people, the planet, and our own stories. Today, I'm speaking with someone who turned personal frustration into purpose. She is the founder of Nivoraa, a premium, consciously crafted clothing label that's rewriting the rules of fit, fabrics, and fashion. Nivoraa stands for inclusivity, joy, and craft. They specialize in made to order garments tailored for your unique body, not the industry's ideal. Their collections use beautiful plant based fabrics like hemp, organic cotton, and a very special Himalayan fiber called HimGra. This isn't about ticking sustainability boxes, it's about building a truly slower, more honest kind of beauty. Hi Nishi, welcome to Style Meets Sustainability. I've been really looking forward to this conversation.
Hi Arpitha, it's so good to be here and have a conversation which is really meaningful and close to my heart.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And your work at Nivoraa speaks to so many values we care about here. Let's begin with your journey. Let's start at the beginning. What led you to start Nivoraa?
If I have to tell you that, how this started, I'll just go back to when I was 12, 13 years old. And I used to read this Outlook magazine that we had with India Today, and there I saw a few people who were 30 under 30, few who were 40 under 40, and they were doing something very meaningful to reach where they are. And I had this in my mind that someday I want to be that. Someday I want to have an impact around people who are working with me, who are working for me, and even to the environment. And so this is how the journey started of doing something impactful. But at the same time, if I talk about Nivoraa, I believe that every girl is a fashionista. They understand what fashion is, they understand what design is. So for me, getting into this was not just related to fashion, creating an impact, but also because I felt that the clothes that I'm buying from fast fashion brands or any brand for that fact of matter, if I'm traveling to the shopping malls, if I'm buying it through the stores, they're just not fitting me because I'm a triangle shaped person. So I have lost weight, I gain weight because hormonal imbalances and stuff like that. And because of that, I used to tell my husband while I was working in corporate that, someday I'll start my own business and I'll make sure that no one feels that their body is built differently and people can comment on that you need to lose weight to fit in a certain kind of dress. And that is when, while working, I got an idea that why not start it now and create an impact. It was a long lost dream as well. So this is how Nivoraa came into action.
That's a interesting way to get into a brand because, as you were correctly saying, the body shape thing that doesn't happen in the industry because every brand has their own way of figuring out a woman's body shape. But in India, we have so many different body shapes. Every brand cannot fit those shapes into their collection. So, you have mentioned your own experience with ill fitted clothes. Can you tell us more about how that shaped your approach to body inclusivity?
Oh, okay. So I'll tell you because I'm a pear-shaped person. So what happens is that whenever I used to buy a coat sets or dress or something like that, I had to buy a size larger, then get it altered to my shape. So and whenever we look at different brands, what they're doing in the market, we had UK and US size chart available, readily available in the market for which. It was very easier for brands to create their own collection with the help of that. And even now, I think this year when India size was introduced, it was made for Indian bodies which are little curvier. But then again, it does not include all the different body types that we have. we have someone, with a larger hip, a pear shaped person, a larger chest, inverted triangle. We have someone who is having, a midsection which is really heavy, but they are thin throughout the round shape. Uh, no sizes, be it UK, US, or even India size, they do not consider that. But that is the shape of a real woman. We cannot deny that, no one can fit into the normal hourglass or the straight figure which people in, the market consider, the brands consider that, this is how it should be done, because everything right now is mass produced. So if they're producing it in a larger quantity, they cannot have a custom fittings, and that is where, the problem lies. So for us, it was that if we want to include body positivity, body inclusivity, we need to make sure that ours is made to order. We cannot have something which is, what other brands are doing, because that is going to lose the essence of what we want to do. How, this brand was started, and why we call ourselves inclusive if we cannot have that kind of, shape based sizing option. The other thing that I felt was, because I do have friends who are, a slightly shorter than me, some who are taller than me, and I realized that most of the garments that is made or manufactured are made for the height, for an average height of 5.5, 5.6. So a mini dress is not going to be exactly mini for someone who is shorter, and for someone who is taller, I just don't want to mention. So I had this thing in mind that whenever, we are starting a brand, we're just going to make sure that a mini is a mini for all heights, a midi dress is a midi dress for all heights, and if someone is going to have a larger hip, they don't have to alter. It's going to be custom made exclusively for them, so that when they wear it, they feel special. They feel that, okay, fine, so this is how a dress should fit. I do not, even if I'm losing weight or gaining weight, that has nothing to do with what my body type is. And they need to stop feeling very uncomfortable in their body type, because what happens that even when I was growing up, I grew up in a very small town. So the problem with small town is people feel that they do have a right to comment on your body. They could just come and say any random thing that, you need to do more of squats, you need to walk a little more, you need to tone down, your bottom area. And I would feel that, how could I do that? Even when I was underweight or I gained weight, everybody commented on how my body shape was, and that actually for the longest period of time I really felt ashamed of it. That, why am I going gaining weight so much? Why is my body shape like that? Because there no one actually explains to you what exactly body shapes are. Nobody is built, in a same manner. They are built very differently, they are going to have a different body, and that's absolutely fine. You can just feel confident in everything that you are wearing and stuff like that. So for us, this is how, body inclusivity started at Nivoraa. We did different research. We went to corporate offices, took measurements to understand, what are the different body shapes, and for even for someone who is XS in triangle shape, what exactly is their size? For someone who is double XL for, triangle shape, what is their size? And then, with all those intensive research, we finally created a size chart which is there on our website. But then again, we do understand that someone is not going to be exactly of that measurement. So that is the reason we have made to order. We have asked people to, mention it over there that they want to have, the hip area a little wider or the chest area a little wider. And sometimes they would want that, could you just increase the height of that mini dress? I want it till the knees. So, okay, fine, we can do that. So, that is something that we are trying to do. We are just trying to include everyone, and we want to make sure that everyone feels that their body is not different. They feel confident in what they're wearing. So for us, this is how we have included body inclusivity in our brand.
That's a lovely journey you have created there for your brand. And me being in the industry, I worked with European brands and some Indian brands. For the Indian brands, I personally created the size chart. But European brands have different, completely different size chart. The body length and the hip sizes and everything is different, and each brand has different size chart, because according to them, according to their client requirement, everything changes. And in India we can definitely not use those sizes, but here, being some export companies, majorly in these Bangalore and Delhi and Chennai kind of cities, generally the new brands pick up these size charts and just tweak a little and use for their brands, which is very wrong, completely wrong. And I love the way you went to the corporate and did all these measurements and everything for your brand. That's a really lovely thing you have done there, because you need to have basic idea about how women are in different shapes. And coming to the body shaming part, I never faced it, but I'm really sorry to hear that you faced certain things. But for me, there is this ideal shape in my head from younger age, and I feel I am not fitting into that. That's like self criticism there. And my lower body, from my hip, the body is a different size than my upper body. If we take a pant, for example, my waist is 26, fits into 26 or 28 waist pant, but my hips fit into 30 or 32. How do I get that pant? I never get a correct fit pant. So I go to alterations, and you are cutting that. Is a struggle for me. A woman like me can go to you and get the correct fitting according to my size. That's a lovely option you are giving. Now I have some technical questions to ask. So when you are doing this, for example, one frock, mini frock, for example. So you have a pattern made for that, according to your like research and everything. Indian women might fit into this size, but when somebody comes and asks you for different shape, different adjustments and everything, how do you manage your patterns? Are you making new patterns for every size, or how are you managing that gap?
So our pattern is mostly in the generic hourglass or straight figure only. But then again, we have made sure that we have different size charts. We have extensive size charts which define that if we get the order and it fits into inverted triangle shape, then we know that at the upper area we need to do it plus 5 or plus 6, because this is what a middle size is going to be for an inverted triangle. So this is how we have structured our process so that we don't make many patterns and there is less waste. We want to keep things very minimal. We don't want to create x number of patterns and x numbers of fabrics, because it's just a total waste of time and energy even for the staff who is working on it.
So the patterns, you're not wasting any paper there or anything. I love the way you planned your figures. According to the figures, you're adding plus or minus or whatever. So that's a very good way, and each garment will be a different piece for you, so everything works out. I love the way you are working. And you work with unique plant based fabrics, including HimGra. What makes these fabrics special?
I'll again start with this, why I went to plant based fabrics. Because unlike metro cities, in small towns where I grew up, cotton, linen, and such fabrics are very common. And I come from a place where my mother used to wear cotton sarees throughout the summers. So I was very fascinated with the fact that those fabrics, with every wash they get softer and softer and softer, and with to me that was the most special characteristics of any natural fabric. So whenever I used to wear, the polyester, I felt very stuck in it. So that is how I had this thing in mind that, I need to look for more and more plant-based fabric. And while going through, cotton, linen, and other fabrics, I came across hemp, which I find extremely, extremely comfortable. Looks and feels like linen, but with every wash, it gets softer and softer and softer. And it's very breathable, and at the same time it's something that makes you feel very comfortable. Every time I have to step out, I'll see that, okay, fine, this is going to be very comfortable if I have to, stay outdoors for about 10, 12 hours. I can wear this. I'm going to be very comfortable. There won't be, I won't feel extremely hot or extremely cold. This is going to keep me cozy throughout the day. So that was with, the fabric selections. With HimGra, the thing is, when I came across Mr. Sharma, who is actually our HimGra supplier, I was fascinated by the fact that someone can actually make a garment from a grass, which is very, very unique thing for me. And when I touched the fabric, especially the silk one, I was so much in love with it. I was like, this is what I really want, because he was already working with someone with HimGra cotton blend. So we decided that let's just go with HimGra and silk, because that is something that's luxury, that's soft. I could just, I could wear it for weeks if I want. So it's that kind of fabric. So for me, while choosing any plant-based fabric, the number one factor was comfort. Even before some sustainability, it was comfort. I just wanted to feel comfortable. And for me, even when I meet my friends or any relatives or anyone, around me, even while I was working in corporate, after lockdown, people were like, we just cannot get into those pants or, shirts which are made up of polyester or polyester blend, because they are not comfortable to wear throughout the day. So this is how we got into plant-based fabric, something which we Indians are, we have always been, and it's like, getting back to our roots in a way.
I totally agree with you about how it feels suffocating when you wear synthetic fabric. I personally don't like them at all, because when I wear them, I have that static happening all over the body, and it's like I can't breathe. I have to remove this and then wear something which is cotton or something which is breathable, basically. So I love the way you are working with the different kinds of plant-based fabrics, and I love the way you are focusing on the comfort. And yeah, from I feel when you are not in the cities, I personally feel you get less exposed to these kind of synthetic fabrics, because my mother also always worn cotton sarees throughout the summers. I have grown up seeing her doing all these starch in the house and nicely drying them. I was helping her with all that, so I know how it feels. And my grandmother, she used to wear these cotton, as you were correctly saying. With the wash, it goes softer and soft. And I can still feel that when I am thinking about my grandmother, her sari is so soft. It becomes so soft over the years, and I can still feel it. So that's the emotion it brings in the plant based fabrics, nature friendly fabrics. And I have one more question. When you said the silk himgra, so what, how is that different from the cotton himgra? And yeah, I have more questions about himgra, so you answer this first and we'll go on for the next one.
Okay, so when I talk about silk himgra, it's basically a blended fabric. So we take the fibers from the himgra, and then we try to blend it with the eri silk, which is the world's non-violent silk, known as non-violent silk. It's from Assam. So, that makes the fabric extremely, extremely soft, which you don't find that in cotton. For cotton, you are going to feel that, it's a little tough, it's a little rigid, but the silk one, it just flows. The drape is extremely nice. So if because I have wore a lot of silk sarees as well, and I do have my Nana ji comes from Bhagalpur, so I have seen Bhagalpuri silk a lot. The silk blankets that he used to give us, it had the very similar kind of feeling. The drape, the fall, it's just beautiful. It's very different from the cotton stands still. It's stiff, but with silk, it just drapes whatever your body shape is, and for me, that's beautiful. That's the difference I saw there with the silk fabric, and that made me feel that this is what I was looking for when I talk about body inclusivity. It takes the shape of the body and makes anyone feel comfortable. So that is how we got into Himgra silk blend instead of Himgra cotton or linen blends.
Yeah, I love the way you put it finally, that it falls into the body shape of women. That's the end end thing you wanted from this. That's lovely. And what's the story behind InGraph? How did you discover or develop it? I want to know from the beginning.
So we did not create HimGra, and I met the founder of Descat, who is actually the creator of HimGra, at Bharat Tex at in 2024. So I went there with my parents. I was looking for different kind of fabrics, and just like me, my parents are a little curious about anything and everything. So they were going across different stalls at Bharatex at the Innovation Pavilion, and they came across his stall, and they were so fascinated by it. They called me that you need to come here and look at these fabric. This is something that you are definitely going to love. So I went there, I understood, how the fabric was made. That made me really fascinated about how could you make something from grass? How was it done? And that is when, we decided that, let's just give it a chance. Let's get the samples. Let's understand how this entire fabric drapes and how well it's going to go with our collection. So we got a few swatches. We loved the silk one specifically. We got the silk sample, and when we made the dress, it was wonderful. It felt so luxury, and at the same time, it was extremely comfortable. The drape was perfect. My triangle shaped body did not feel very different to it. So and before launching it into the market, I made sure that I am wearing it multiple times. I'm washing it multiple times to see whether the fabric, it's getting faded or it's getting torn or anything, whatever happens, so that whenever I am selling it to the customers, I know what problem they are going to face. But in past 1.5 years, I think I have worn that fabric multiple times. I washed them more than 25 times, and the fabric is still fantastic. And if someone is going to ask me that, what is your star fabric, I always say them it's HimGra. It's amazing. So that is how, we just got into HimGra. I wore it, I loved it. I made sure that, whoever is touching it, they also feel the same thing when they are wearing it. So this is how, we got into it. Not developed, but just created something unique out of it.
Hmm. I was about to ask you about its strength and how it is taking the wash and everything. You already told me all that. So the way you are trying it on yourself before putting it as a collection in your brand is a best way, I would say, because you are not producing so many pieces, but before giving it to the client, before they come and complain about something, you are already experiencing it and you are already cutting those problems from your collection. That's a very strong way to build a brand. I really appreciate that effort you are putting into it. And now coming to the fabrics, apart from HimGra silk, what other fabrics are you using, and how do you go eco-friendly with your fabrics for the brand?
Okay, so other than HimGra, we are using hemp fabric, which is actually, I think, 70 to 80% of our collection. Then we also have a few designs in organic cotton, poplin especially. So if I talk about sustainability, how are these more sustainable? Then because we are using hemp fabric, hemp decomposes very easily. So that is one thing, and we're just making sure that we do not have any plastic in it. Even we are trying to avoid zippers. Instead of that, we're just trying to add a fabric belt, which gives a nice accentuated waist, and it looks better than just having a zip, something which is very tight. So that is one thing that we are doing in terms of sustainability, and to make sure that everyone feels uh, that they are wearing a very comfortable fabric. We make sure that anyone who, even my staff, sometimes I would just say that why don't you just try wearing this? If you're not going to wear this, that's absolutely fine. Why don't you make a smaller piece for your child? Let them wear it. Let them understand if this feels comfortable. The design is absolutely fine. If they're loving it, then we can just go ahead with this particular fabric. We have tried different hemp fabrics, different GSM of hemp fabric. Some are very thick, some are medium thick, some are just fine as linen. Just to understand what people love, instead of ordering in mass, we have been ordering in very small quantity, and everything that can be decomposed easily. We keep small pieces of the fabric when we are cutting it, and then trying to put that in the soil to see how long does it take to decompose, to understand whether or not it's actually sustainable fabric that we are using and it's not harmful for the nature. So we have been trying to incorporate a lot of these small things to make sure that we are sustainable as whole in terms of the fabric that we are using.
That's a lovely way. I need to clap for you because you are already trying to decompose it and see. So you're closing the loop literally. Even if somebody who don't know about the sustainability, being eco-friendly and all that, and they just throw the garment out, it won't get dumped into the landfill. It is decomposing. That's a lovely way to start a collection. And about the trying out the garment with somebody in different sizes and different ways, that's a very strong way. I really like that approach which you are taking for your brand. I really love that, and you should keep doing that for every fabric you include into your future collections. And many people hear sustainable fashion, the word, and think of dull neutrals in colors. But Nivoraa is full of bright, joyful colors. Was that a conscious choice? And how do you manage to get those bright colors with natural dyes? Do you use natural dyes, or do you have some chemicals also being part of this collection?
Absolutely, it was a very conscious choice that we wanted to have bright colors in our collection. So, no, we don't use natural dyes. We use azo-free dyes. Azo-frees are, a chemical-free dyes, very different than the natural ones. But the thing is, the problem with natural dye is after every wash, you'll see a little fading in colors, and after 20-30 washes, the color is completely gone. So this is not something that we wanted for our clothes. So that is the reason we went for azo-free dyes. The other thing is we wanted to have bright colors. Is we live in India. India is a very colorful country. When we talk about festivals or any occasion, we try to have something which is a little colorful. You talk about Holi, you have colors. You talk about Diwali, you're just decorating your house with rangolis with different colors. You're decorating, everything that you have is very colorful. So, and plus, I am someone who looks for more bright colors because I feel that I have a very summer tone. I look better in bright colors, but you don't get so much of bright colors when you talk about sustainable brands. Uh, People in India and even the brands in India, they think that, the old money look or the minimal look, or the sustainable look is something that we need to copy from the West, something that they have been doing for a very long time. They live in neutral, but we don't. And that was one of the major reasons that I wanted to have bright colors in our collection and not just go with something that is borrowed from the West. So this is how, we got into it.
Lovely thing to know about the colors again. So I recently had a conversation with a place called Color Ashram, who are placed in Mysore. They work with all natural colors, but they make them bright and they make them. What do you say? You were saying after some washes, the color completely goes. So they are working with all that for industry level of requirements. So if you would like to connect with them, I can share some details about them, and you can watch their conversation on my podcast as well. So you will learn a lot from that. Maybe it will work for your brand. Now, coming to the culture of working system in your brand, you have created a joyful work culture for your team, women artisans with fair wages and festive breaks. Why was that important to you?
How it started was because I was working in corporate. And as an Indian woman, we celebrate a lot of festivals, which West does not. And I'll talk to you about something very small, such as Raksha Bandhan. So that is something that I want to be at home. I want to celebrate it with my brothers. I want to cook something to them. I want to step out. I want to enjoy the entire day with them. But when it comes to corporate, you don't get such leaves. You'll have to either apply for a sick leave or earn leaves or just make some excuse to, just not work on that particular day. So when I started this organization, I had this very thing in my mind that if I want women to work with me, I want them to be happy about working here. And they should not feel that if they're coming to work at our office, they are missing so much in life. So what we make sure is we have a 7 to 8 hours working 5 days a week, and if someone is having someone's not feeling well, or if the child is sick, I you just inform me and go spend time with your child. That is more important than you being here. So that empowers the women, that makes them feel that okay, fine, I'm not missing anything in life, but at the same time I'm able to do what I want to do. So that was the most important thing for me. And then in corporate, we used to have, a week long holiday for Christmas. That made no sense to me. So what we do is we have a week long holiday for Diwali. So that is something we work in India. My staff is Indian. They celebrate these festivals. So we make sure that, everything that is celebrated in India, they should get a proper holiday. They should be able to enjoy that with their family. They should be present for their kid. The kid should be saying something. So I'll just tell you a very good story. One of my master tailors child, she studies at this international school, and there she tells everyone that my mother is a designer, but she's also available for me. So that's a very beautiful thing to hear from a child, that they feel so proud that their mother is working, but at the same time, the mother is also available for them. And when Nivoraa is able to do that for for our staff, that feels incredibly good, and you know, that makes me really happy. So this is how we wanted to include every element and at the same time make sure that women feel empowered while working with us and enjoy each and every festival that we have here in India.
That's lovely to know. So that means your team has a Indian calendar and the team calendar as well, because according to their needs, they can take leave and relax and work at the same time. That's lovely. And I love the story that you have shared about that little girl. That's how you are empowering those ladies who are working with your team. That's a great way to go. And how do you balance ethics and aesthetics while designing?
To talk about ethics first, because we have been discussing that for a very long time. What I personally feel is, if I have to make something which is creating an impact, it has to, go hand in hand with nature. I cannot, and also at the same time, I cannot have workers to whom I'm exploiting. I need to make sure that they're fairly paid, they get enough rest. So that is the ethics part of it. And for aesthetic, we try to do things which are very simple, which are very minimal. We don't want to get into something which is very loud. And for us, being minimal and comfortable is the aesthetic of our brand. And if we are able to do that along with, making sure that our people are happy, our customers are happy, the nature is happy, and I think this is how we are able to balance the ethics and aesthetics here at our brand. Nothing much, no superpowers, nothing special ingredients. It's just make everything simple and easy. Sometimes, it happens that we feel to achieve something as simple as this, we have to, take difficult steps. But it's not always necessary. You could just slow down. You could ask people to understand that this is what I want to do, this is how I want to do. Can you just do it in an easier way? And if they say that yes, that can be done in a very easy way, so that is how, you get something which is very aesthetically pleasing, and at the same time you are not compromising on ethics, you are not exploiting any of the resources. So for me, that is something that I wanted to create, and hopefully I have been able to do that.
That's actually a lovely way to handle everything. And this question has been going on in my head from the beginning. I missed out asking you that. And now I am going to ask you. You said you have corporate background and you got into fashion, and now you are doing all these technical things, the patterns, the sizes, and how to figure out the fabric. There are many technical things which you are handling as a brand. So how did the transition happen from corporate job to this fashion field? Did you pursue any courses or did you study fashion? How did this journey, this transition happen?
I think I've already told you that my Nana ji is from Bhagalpur. So we used to visit, during our summer vacation. And there he used to take us to some wholesale shops in the market where they had, fabric than. And whatever designs that we liked, we would just, take the fabric from the than. I would design something in a form of sketch, a simple sketch, and I'll just, go and give it to the tailor that this is what I want, this is how it should look like. So that is where, the designing element came from. And because, we were there in the fabric market for a very long time, I would just, touch the fabric like this and understand, okay, this fabric is not very soft, this fabric is very rough, I don't like the texture of this fabric. So that is how I understand the basics of fabric. And then, after I decided that I want to start a brand, I quit my job. I was doing this research for about a year or so, and I joined a few courses to understand how patterns are made, how draping is done, how we are stitching something, what are the different stitches that, happens when we talk about, a certain kind of dress. So then I read a number of books. I was listening to a lot of podcasts. I was talking to different people. I was meeting different designers. And sometimes I would even get an answer like, we are not going to entertain you. This is not something for you. You come from a corporate background. Why don't you hire a designer or someone just, who could do these works for you? Why do you just want to get involved into something like that? So I got a lot of rejections that way. But eventually, with those rejections, there were some people who helped me with each and everything. They were actually bombarding me with a lot of terms. I went to the Google to understand what those terms are. I went to the market to understand, okay, this is how it is done. This is the different kind of fabric. Some people were extremely good. They would explain to me that, this is the thick fabric. When they talk about GSM, this is what GSM means. Okay, fine. This is how, you select a particular fabric. And when I did a course for about a month, they actually taught me how patterns are made, how the cutting is done, how much the border you need to leave, what are the different kinds of folds that you have to do to make the dress looks better, how could you improve a certain kind of design. So in that 1.5 year, I learned a lot of things from a lot of people, from a lot of rejections through Google, through podcasts, and a few courses that I did. And that is how, the transition happened. But at the same time, because I was so much interested in doing these things, because I saw my mother doing embroidery a lot. So she used to embroider a lot of her, plain or solid color suits. And sometimes I saw my dadi had a big machine. She would be stitching something, and okay, this is fine, I can do that. And because of seeing how things are done, how they have been doing it over the years, there are certain things that I learned from my childhood, certain things that I learned after I left my job, and a mixture of those. With those things, I just started my brand, and eventually in a year or so, even my tailors, my master G, they keep teaching me certain things. I would just sit there and stand there, how are you doing this, how is it done? And they would just tell you that this is how it is done, this is why you do it. If you're not using this particular thing in the collar, this is how it is going to look like. Acha, acha. So it was a combination of everything that happened around me, made me switch from the switch from corporate to a brand owner, made everything was made so smooth because of different people in my life and the experiences that I had throughout.
You are a great example of self-taught person, because I there are many youngsters who come to me and say, I'm studying this and this, but I don't want to study that anymore. I want to pursue my fashion interest. But they don't understand that they can break the norms, because you are a good example of breaking that norm. And you have that complete excitement and that interest to learn this. That's why you could able to pick up from your childhood memories and childhood things, and you came up with the best thing which you love to do now. And the way you are learning from the pattern makers and the masters and the tailors and everything, that clearly shows that how interested you are in this field. And that makes a best business owner or best designer, I would say, because you are no less than any designer who's doing these designs after studying, because you are already studying from the practical experiences. And the fact that you took the rejections as well is a strong thing, because based on those rejections you will pick up something which you will love. It's a lovely story and lovely thing to hear about you. And let's pause here for a bit of education. And what does it really mean for clothing to be sustainable?
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for those kind words. I was really not expecting that, because for me every day is a learning. So this is the first thing that I'm hearing something that you feel nice about these stories. So thank
Oh,
you so much.
that's like a given, because you have learned so much, and with that excitement you have learned, because that's how you learn. What else? I also learn on everyday basis. The recording, whatever I'm doing now, nobody taught me. I've learned it because I was interested. So you are doing a great job at it, and you should continue doing it and give a great brand to everyone to buy from.
Thank you so much. Coming to your question. So,
Mm.
for me, sustainability isn't just a checklist. For me, it's basically a mindset. It's more about making intentional choices that at every step. So, a lot of people come to me saying that, your fabrics are really costly. I cannot buy it. Why don't you just lower the rate? Make it just 50% of what you're selling it. But the thing is, because we are buying in a smaller quantity, the prices go up for the fabrics. We are paying fair wages to our employees. Then again, that adds to the cost of the product. And I often tell them that, if you want to be sustainable, the best option is wear whatever you have in your wardrobe. That is how you are, taking the first step in being sustainable. First. Second, if you cannot afford from us, that's absolutely fine. I am not going to cut that cost of my worker, or I cannot have a non-sustainable supply chain to make sure that everyone is just satisfied. You could, you know, in your budget, you could go and buy something which is really sustainable, good for nature. That is also a way you are contributing to sustainability in clothing. But a lot of people, they have this thing, nay, I buy from H&M or I buy from Zara. They are also sustainable. They are good. I buy from their, the sustainability segment. But I feel that a recycled polyester is still a polyester, and you are not being sustainable. When you buy from these big brands, what you're contributing is that these brands are going to pay their workers 9 rupee, 10 rupee, or even 20 rupee per day to make that particular garment. So for me, a clothing to be sustainable, it should be kind to earth, it should be kind to people, and it should be kind to future. The hands that are making those garments, the hands that they are who are dyeing those garments, they should feel that they are empowered by making a particular garment that is worn by someone who is actually loving it. So for me, a clothing to be sustainable, these three elements need to be there: nature, people, and the future. So these should be inclusive of it.
Lovely to know how you manage all this sustainability. And when you said some people will ask you why your garment is so expensive, and we get for a cheaper price a similar sustainable garments. Then, in one of my conversations with one of my friends, she was mentioning, why don't people ask why is it cheap? Why is that particular garment cheaper? So that's how we should know the value of the garment, because as you were correctly mentioning, these garments, these brands will pay less to the people, and they don't bother about the nature, how much damage they are creating. They don't think about all that. That's why the price is cheaper. You should understand that. And yeah, whenever somebody asks that, I was actually thinking, I will ask them, why do you think that is cheap? Why didn't you ask? So that's how they should change their mind and think about the sustainability and eco-friendly options which you as a brand giving. And could you explain the difference between conscious fashion and greenwashing?
Greenwashing is basically everything at a surface level. Just like I mentioned, if I talk about big fast fashion brands who are introducing, sustainable options, they're just, giving a tag to it that it is a recycled polyester, it is made up of linen. That's all on the surface. Okay, it's a very clever marketing, and the process is not at all transparent. If the dresses are not sold, they're just dumped somewhere, and the people who are making it, they are getting 20 rupees, 10 rupees a day, and even they're using children to make a garment, to pack that garment. So for me, that is greenwashing, and that's in general a greenwashing. And if you talk about conscious fashion, so that is something which is very transparent, which is very thoughtful, and you know, if you ask a brand how is it made, they are going to actually show you the process that this is how it was made. These are the hands, these are the people who made those garments for you. It took 20 hours, 120 hours to make that particular garment. This is how, you know, a single embroidery was done. This much time it took. The fabric was costly to us because we, bought it in very small quantities. When you talk about conscious fashion, it is not mass produced. It is produced in a very small number so that there is no dead stock. So this is what differentiates a conscious fashion brand from a greenwashed brand. I think a lot of fast fashion brands right now who are moving into sustainability, talking about sustainability, are just greenwashing it, a clever marketing technique. That's it.
I totally agree with you. There is one question which comes to me all the time is when a fast fashion brand says this collection of ours is sustainable collection. Why can't they completely change their whole production? They are just doing one collection just to satisfy the market. That's it. If they are completely ethically, if they have these values of turning the whole brand into a sustainable and eco-friendly brand, they won't do one collection. They would change the whole collection, whole system in their business. And according to you, what are some small steps people can take today to start dressing more responsibly?
So the first step would be please stop buying things impulsively. People right now, they would just see something on some influencer on Instagram, or they're just scrolling it, and they are watching that everyone is having this particular product. Everyone is wearing this brand. Even I should be having it. Rather, just start thinking that, do I really love this? Do I really need it? If I'm going to buy it, how many times I'm going to wear it? Where I can wear it, and even if I buy it, I'm not able to wear it. Is something that I can do about that particular garment? Can I just donate it, or is it really compostable? If it's just lying in my cupboard for a very long time and I'm trying to decompose it, is it going to be decomposed very easy or not? So I think that is something that people need to start. It starts here, in your mind. It's all about mindset. That if you talk about you have to dress more responsibly, you can also not buy anything at all. Whatever is there in your cupboard, just check that I do have these 10 options. These are good options. I can still wear it. Then there are so many platforms where you could just go and donate if you're not wearing it. So this is how you can start dressing up more responsibly. And okay, while we are talking about this, we have also tried, because it's a new brand, we're just trying to have a few more months to go before we start something, an upcycling program, where if someone is bored of their dress, they could actually send it back to us, where we are going to upcycle it into a different design using the same fabric, and then get them that with some additional cost, because artisans are going to work on it, so that they have a new dress from the older one, and they could upcycle it, they could style it, they could layer it and wear it multiple times. So I think that is something where we can start dressing more responsibly.
You got me at upcycling because my brand does completely this, the upcycling. And I also have this custom option where they can bring in their own wardrobe clothes, and I can design something out of it for them, and they can still wear the same garment but in a different way. That's a great option because I know it is the best option, because you have so many clothes in your wardrobe, you don't know what to do with them. Just give the brands, they will figure out some beautiful way to give it back to you. That's a lovely answer there. And yeah, this question has been going on in my head. I didn't ask you earlier. I want to ask you now. How about the trims in your collections? Like, what kind of threads? And do you use elastic and zipper? You already mentioned how you manage, and how do you do the buttons and all those small things which are like threads are generally nowadays are with polyester to have that strength and everything, and elastic will add the waistband, will give the comfort for the waistband to fit different body types. So these two are a little tricky to manage. So I want to understand how you manage these kind of trims in your brand.
Okay, so I'll start with the buttons. So when we cut the fabrics and whatever fabric waste we have, we try to make use of it as buttons. So we make those fabric waste into the buttons that we use in our dresses first. Second, the threads that we are using are basically again not just the polyester one, because polyester one is a little durable in comparison to what we have for cotton and linen. So right now the threads that we are using is a recycled polyester again, but then again it is made from the plastic waste which has been collected from the ocean. So just trying to give a new life to already which was already a waste. Something that we are looking to replace again to make it more natural, but at the same time it should be durable as well. We are looking continuously looking for different sources. Then we use elastic threads, which are very fine threads, one or two in numbers, better than the thicker elastics in pants or waist mostly. And sometimes we even try to replace those elastics by using the fabric ties to accentuates which accentuates your waist and gives you that kind of perfect figure. So we're just trying to reduce wherever we can the elastic. Right now even we are buying these elastic threads from UK and UAE because they have some better quality, something which is made up of already upcycle and made from already existing waste, so that it's just getting a second life. But every single time we're just trying to make sure that we find some better alternatives to it which is also durable. So this is what we are doing right now.
That's a lovely answer, and I'm sure with every collection, you will improve your inclusive things for the trims and everything. There are many options coming up, and your designs might help you with avoiding elastic or with avoiding something which is not sustainable and eco-friendly. That's a lovely way to go. And how can somebody identify whether a brand is truly sustainable according to you?
So just don't go after the buzzwords and ask the brand the correct questions. A brand which is transparent, uh, and they talk about eco-friendly and conscious fashion, they are always there to answer your questions. They're going to show you their process, and that's the simplest and the easiest way, especially in today's world where you have got access to the Instagram accounts where they are answering your questions. Just go and ask the questions. That's the simplest way to do that.
So, do you really think everybody would take the effort to go ask the brands about what they are doing? Because when I have these kind of conversations with my close people who don't understand these things much, they say, who will have all the energy to go find out all these things? But I personally feel if somebody is very conscious about what they are doing, their life, their clothes, they would do. What is your opinion on that?
Then I would say that if you don't have much time to ask people, just read the tags. The tag is going to tell you what fabric it is, what blend it is, how much of it is plastic, how is it made, where is it made, and that is going to give you a clear picture of how conscious a fashion brand is.
Yeah, that's a very easy way to find out if somebody is in a hurry. Why is body inclusivity still so rare in fashion? What needs to change?
A lot of brands actually do not want to put much effort in creating a custom size chart or a custom manufacturing, because for them it wastes a lot of time. And a lot of brand, if you see, in today's time, they are actually outsourcing their manufacturing. So if they keep different custom sizes, it gets difficult for them to manufacture it. But a lot of brands who are doing it in house, for them, body inclusivity is something that they should actually adopt at this point of time, because it's the necessity first. Second, while I was researching, I was taking measurements of a lot of people, in different corporate offices. I realized a lot of people are not even aware of their body shapes. They don't even know what exactly their height is. There would be someone would say, I might be 5'3" or 5'5". I'm not very sure about it. Okay, fine. If they are a triangle shaped person, they would be, I'm not able to lose weight, below my waist. They do not really understand that this is their body shape, this is how they look. Their different shapes, and that is one of the major reasons that brands try to avoid body inclusivity, because people are not aware of it. They just don't care. The life is so fast at this moment that they would just go to the mall, they'll like something, they'll get it. If it's not well fitted, today every brand is having a tailor sitting there. They'll just alter it for their shape and they'll just take that home. So I think that is one of the major reason that body inclusivity is not included in different brands, and people are still not thinking about it.
That's a sad thing to know that people don't even know their body shapes. And I'm happy that you are including all that into your brand. And what have been some challenges you have faced as a conscious fashion founder? You have already mentioned about body shape and all those. Apart from those, if you have any more challenges, please share with us.
The first is people are not much aware about the fabrics that we are using. So they feel that hemp is another name for cotton, and it's absolutely fine to ask the founder or anyone they're talking to lower the price, because it's just similar. So that is one problem that I face all the time. And when they come to know that hemp is actually a species of bhang, then they would start questioning me that it's a very illegal fabric to use, so you should not be using it. Third is the price point. People have been comparing a homegrown brand, a sustainable brand, with the price point of what the fast fashion brands are doing. So that these are the three challenges that we face right now, other than the body inclusive part.
Do you feel the mindset of Indian consumers is shifting towards slow and sustainable fashion?
Not much, because from my experience, what I have felt is people are going to talk about nature, they are going to talk about sustainability, but for them, sustainability is very limited to the fast fashion brands. They do not really have time to look what different homegrown brands are doing, what conscious people are doing. For them, sustainable and conscious fashion is mostly for the elite. They are for someone who can actually afford a lot of money. But what they don't think is, even if you're using a cotton fabric or a linen fabric or something which is already there in your wardrobe, you are a sustainable fashionista. You don't always have to prove yourself a more sustainable one. You do not have to just go and keep buying from fast fashion stores every time they have a sale. So that is one thing that I have been facing. I feel, And other than that, I feel still a lot of people, especially Gen Zs, they are more conscious about sustainable fashion. Their mindset has changed a lot. They talk about capsule wardrobe. They ask good questions. They have, the purchases which are very limited in comparison to what we as millennials or even, before us were doing.
That's a promising thing to hear about. Actually, when I also interact with these young generation now, they know a lot about this and they are getting aware of it. But it's still a group of people, not complete generation. Moving on, for our listeners who might want to start a mindful fashion brand, what advice would you give?
Research what exactly you want to do and be ready to face a lot of rejections. And whenever you start a fashion brand, just know why are you starting it and stick to your vision, irrespective of what people are going to say. And once you start it, the entry barrier in fashion is very low. Anyone can start a brand. But then to stay in that business is a very difficult thing. You're going to face constant rejections. People are going to say mean things to you. They are not going to buy from you. And you are going to question your self worth a lot. So just be confident in what you wanted to do, why you created the brand, stick to your values, and build very slowly. Do not expect the result to come, in just 6 months or 7 months. It takes time. So if you're building a slow fashion brand, build slowly. I think this helps them to, you know, build a mindful fashion brand.
That's a lovely way to put it there. Build slowly. And what's your bigger dream for Nivoraa?
I want Nivoraa to become a legacy, and I want it to be remembered as a brand where women feel seen and the artisans work with dignity, and it proves that beauty, aesthetics, responsibility can coexist. So this is my vision for Nivoraa. I just wanted to create a legacy, something that even fast fashion brands want to copy. That okay, fine. This is something that we can also do to make ourselves sustainable. So I think when this happens, I'll feel that my dream has been achieved.
That's a great dream, and all the best for that. And now,
Thank you so much.
yes, and moving on to our next segment where we have simple questions where you have to answer with one word or one sentence. Are you ready for that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, let's go. Hemp or cotton? What's your pick?
Hemp.
Okay. Favorite festival to celebrate with your team?
Diwali, because it is followed by a week long vacation.
Okay. A myth about sustainable fashion you wish didn't exist.
That it has to look very boring and it's mostly black and white.
Hmm. Oh, by the way, my wardrobe is full of black and white colors. That's by choice. That's by
That's
choice.
absolutely fine. You can have anything, when it comes to choice, but people should not be thinking that it's just black and white. If they want
Yes,
to have colors, they can definitely have it.
yes, I totally agree with you. And three words that describe your brand.
Conscious, inclusive, and comfortable.
Lovely. Favorite Nivora piece you have ever created?
That's a very difficult one because there's so many. That's my favorite. But
Okay.
I think from my first collection, there is this lime green color dress, which is a Tinkerbell inspired blazer dress. So I love that.
Oh wow, nice. One fabric you would never use.
Polyester.
I agree with you. Your go-to outfit for comfort.
I like the shirt that I'm wearing right now, the hemp shirt, and with a
Okay.
hemp pant. It's
Oh,
very comfortable to wear throughout the day.
oh, okay. Great to know that. One thing you wish more consumers knew.
That their choices have weight.
Okay. A style trend you would like to see disappear.
Okay, but that's my personal opinion. I
Ah,
don't
ah.
like skinny fit.
Oh, okay. I
I don't
also
like,
don't like it, by the way. I
I
also
don't
don't
like skinny fit. I just feel that you are, yeah, it's
like
just
it.
congested. How could someone feel? It feels very suffocating to me.
Looking at them also feels suffocating. Not
Yeah,
wearing.
exactly. Sometimes
I
I just, when I, come across some people who are actually wearing skinny fit jeans, I think you really feel comfortable in that. Don't you just want to go home and change into your pajamas and something like that? Because that's not comfortable.
Oh, I totally agree with you. I stopped wearing these skinny fit jeans a
Yeah.
long time ago. It's all gone. What makes you hopeful about the future of fashion?
Gen Zs,
Okay.
because they know what they're doing. They're asking the right questions like, who made this?
Uh-huh.
Why was this made? Why
Oh,
are you charging? Why are you paying your staff so less? Why
hmm.
is the child labor over there? So I think that makes me hopeful about the future of fashion.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. And this was such a heartening and informative conversation. Thank you, Nishi, for sharing your journey and your values with us.
Thank you so much, Arpita. It was a pleasure being here and talking to someone who actually understands sustainability and understands what, as a brand, we are trying to do and helping us put it, for the people around us who are equally interested in sustainability as well as fashion.
Yes,
Thank you
yes,
so much
of
for having
course.
me.
Yes, of course. Conversations like these remind us that fashion can be a tool for dignity, joy, and change if we choose it that way, though.
Absolutely, absolutely. What I personally feel is that I have always been saying since I was a kid that
Mm,
if you look well, you feel well. Okay, so
yes.
if you look good, if I'm
Huh.
looking good, I am confident in myself, and I am definitely going to feel good wherever I'm stepping out. So that is, a very important thing.
Oh, yes, I agree with you totally. And thank you for being here. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
To all our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Keep questioning, keep choosing consciously, and as always, wear your values.